Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where the weather's gone bad again here in the UK. It's horrible outside, but I'm going to cheer myself up by trying an older puzzle by the constructor GDC. It's called Chess Lines, and I don't know why we haven't done this before, because the idea behind this is so ridiculously lovely that I really hope this is a good puzzle, and I'm pretty sure it is because it's been recommended to us very recently by somebody we trust. And the idea is that you can see each line has a chess piece next to it, and the digits you put on the line have to work as if that chess piece was on a number pad. So imagine that this digit was a 5 for a moment. Now that's on a rook line. So if you look at 5 on a number pad and you imagine it was a chess rook, it could go to the 8, it could go to the 4, it could go to the 2, or it could go to the 6. So this digit would have to be 2, 4, 6 or 8. Isn't that clever? So let's do another one. Let's do, I suppose we shouldn't do the queen, should we? Let's do a knight. So let's imagine that was a 1. Now, if that was a 1, a chess knight on a 1 could go to an 8 or a 6 on my number pad. So I'm going to have to continue to scan today by looking down at my number pad. Now, those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time will know that I don't use the number pad at all when I input the numbers in Sudoku. It's something I've just never got used to, or never even tried to get used to. So this is going to be totally bizarre for me, and maybe if you're really good at typing in numbers on a number pad, this will feel more intuitive to you. I think it's got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty, so in theory at least an averagely difficult puzzle. Anyway, we'll have a look at, I'll read the rules properly in a moment or two's time. Loads of things to mention. I've been mentioning over the last few days, but we are streaming Braid tomorrow night now. Here we go, there's Braid. This is the anniversary edition of Braid. I don't know if that's different. I presume it's just got better graphics than the original. I don't know if it's a different game to the original, but loads of you have suggested this would be a good one for us to try on the channel. So 10 PM UK time tomorrow, we'd love to have your company. Next, we've also been mentioning, if we do manage to get to 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, which are about 4,500 subscribers only away, we're going to release a brand new completely free puzzle pack to the world featuring some celebration puzzles for us reaching what it would be an incredible milestone for the channel. When we started it, middle of 2017, we started the channel. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But yeah, if that puzzle pack will feature puzzles by the likes of Phistomefel and Codec and James Sinclair, to name but a few. So something to look forward to. And if you're not subscribed and you fancy a free puzzle pack, do consider subscribing. We'd really appreciate it. And then the other thing, of course, is over on Patreon, we've got my solve of a rock-hard Phistomefel puzzle, Sky-Skyscrapers. And on the 1st of June, which is rapidly approaching, we have got this, the Lord of the Rings Sudoku Hunt by Blobz, featuring the art of Ted Nasmith. This is one for the ages. Yeah, this is. I might have another picture of some art here. This is Ted Nasmith. He's one of the world's premier Tolkien artists, and somehow Blobz has secured his permission to use the art in his puzzle pack. So it's an absolutely amazing thing. This. Move that over. We can see the full fellowship there. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, or indeed great Sudoku puzzles, or even just art, that's something to look forward to. At 4 PM UK time on the 1st of June is when that competition will launch. And the only other thing I wanted to mention before we kick off today is that it's Shah's birthday. And happy birthday, Shah. I know it's your birthday because your dad Sam wrote in and said that you've been a huge fan of the channel for years, and that you even got Sam involved too. So well done on spreading the word, Shah. And I understand that you're having a very nice homemade chocolate cheesecake made for you today. And I even might be sent a picture. So I hope that's as good as it sounds. Shah, many happy returns. Now, let's read the rules properly of Chess Lines by GDC. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, And in every 3x3 box, I get a given digit. I never see these given digits because I'm so unused to having them. Right, adjacent digits on a line must form a valid chess move by the indicated piece on a 3x3 number pad. So that's what I said before. But then it's got an example. It says, for example, a 1 on a knight line may only have the number 6 or 8 next to it. Well, I think that's even the example I did. So 6181 would be valid. Yeah, okay, I can see that the chess knight is jumping from the 6 to the 1 to the 8 back to the 1 again. Pawns can only move exactly one cell up or one cell down. So 2585 would be a valid pawn line. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's slightly odd because pawns, obviously, if it was a white pawn, it could normally only go in one direction. But here, it's restricted from being totally Harry Styles-esque because it can go backwards. So it's like a floating pawn. It can go up or down, and it's never allowed to take a piece either because obviously then it would move diagonally. So pawns are very linear. Have we got any pawn lines? We've only got one pawn line. Everything else. Is it? Oh, it'll tell you what would be lovely, and that's if every chess piece. I think they do. So we've got pawns, rooks, knights, bishops, queen and king. So every single chess piece has a line. That feels appropriate. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Restart my clock. Let's get cracking. Now, I say let's get cracking. Okay, let's try and use the given digit while we can. So this is on a king line. So a 7 can go to a 4, 5 or an 8. So I'm going to claim, unless I'm wrong. Okay, we've got a massive long knight line there and a slightly long bishop line there. Which of those is going to be more restricted? Let me think about that for a moment. I'm not sure, but one thing I'm wondering about is that I can't put 5 on a knight line. I can see that immediately. Because a 5, obviously, on the number pad, if it was a chess knight, would jump outside the number pad, which I'm guessing is not going to work. So 5 is in one of those squares. Now, if 5 was on the bishop's line, that would be quite easy. It could jump to any of the corners of the number pad. So do I have to... Okay, so it might be something to do. Sorry if I keep looking down here. It's because I'm looking at my number pad and trying to imagine how the pieces might move. But what I'm wondering... Yeah, it might be something to do with the fact that I can see none of those squares there. Let me just highlight those for a moment. It's a terrible colour to highlight them in. Let's highlight them in that colour. None of those squares can be a 7 on the knight line. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have to construct a 7-cell sequence of knight's moves. Yeah, okay. The other thing I'm thinking about with this line, yeah, if you look at the geometry of this line, one thing we can't do, for example, I was wondering whether we could jump back a digit so I could go to the same digit again, but the geometry of this line prevents that, doesn't it? Because to go, for example, to go 1, 6, 1, which would be a valid sequence of jumps, I can't do that anywhere along here in these 7 cells. Because I would, if I went 1, 6, 1, the 2 1s are going to see them. If I went 1, 6, 1, the 2 1s see each other. There's nowhere to put a jump backwards. So what we have to do here is always jump to a new number, which means that, so if we went 1, I'm just going to see. So if we go 1, we can't go 6 because the 6 would then have to go to 7. So if we go 1, we have to go 8. And then we'd have to go 3, because we can't go back to 1 again. This is quite linear, actually. Because then you have to go 4. Then you've got to go 9. Then you've got to go... Oh, this doesn't work. I'm going to hit 7. I'm going to hit a 7. Okay, so I've got to go backwards. So... that's interesting. So what that means is, I can see how I could do it now. Because if I didn't start with 1, but I bounced the chess knight backwards, another position in this sequence that we seem to be having, I could jump it back to a 6. So if I shift all these numbers, so if this was 1, 8, 3, 4, 9, 2, I don't know if that has to be a 7 now, but then I make that a 6, that would work, I think. Now the other interesting thing is I can't go back in the sequence any further than that. Right. So actually I'm now realizing that this is what GDC has realized. This is the longest sequence you can possibly make. Now one thing I'm just wondering about is if 6 works, and looking at the position of 6 relative to 7 on my number pad, does that imply 2 works as well? So could this be a 2? Yes, the sequence can go backwards. Yeah, that makes... okay, a big slow, but that must make sense. So the sequence could go backwards. So it could go 2, 9, 4, 3, 8, 1, 6, and then 7. This is very clever. This is very clever, because that's given me a digit. Right, so let's summarise. What I've worked out is there is an internal sequence of number pad chess jumps that doesn't include a 7. Well, there are 2 sequences that don't include 7 that are 7 jumps long. But they are exactly 7 jumps long. The 8th digit, if you like, has to be a 7 because 5 is off the sequence. So, but we can start with either 2 or 6. So these squares are actually 2 or 6 in the puzzle. We then are always going to be jumping to a 1 or a 9. We then are always going to be jumping to a 4 or an 8. And then the middle digit is always going to be a 3. So this is an earned digit. Now I think, therefore, well, does that mean that's a 7 or not? If it wasn't a 7, what's it going to be? It's going to be... No, it is going to be a 7, because otherwise it's going to be the same as this digit. So this is another earned digit. We always get 7. But then this digit doesn't see this digit. So this could be different or the same as this digit. So that digit is 2 or 6. And then that digit, which can't go back to 7 again, is going to be 1 or 9, and that doesn't see that digit. So this... Well, okay, that's still a bit interesting, because that's given me a 1-9 pair in box 4 and a 2-6 pair in box 4. And there's a 7 up here by Sudoku. I'm not going to neglect my Sudoku yet. And now the digits that can be on the bishop line are a bit more restricted than they used to be. They are either 3, 4, 5 or 8. Now I'm now going to look at those. So 3 and 4 can't be on the bishop line. I can see that. They are not on the same bishop's colour. 3 and 5 would work. 3 and 8 would not work. Oh, no. This is very lovely. Right. Okay. 4 and 8 would work. 4 and 8 are on the same bishop's colour, and you could move between them. But 4 and 8 won't work as a pair on this line because that will break this square, which is a 4 or an 8. So it's not a 4-8 pair, and that means it is a 3-5 pair. Now that means this square is now a 4 or an 8. And presumably I look at this square now. I'm not sure. Do I might not need the colour of my... Let's lose the colour green, as Marcus Beat say. To quote Blackadder. Well, not actually the character Blackadder recently. We've undiscovered green there. Now, okay, so this is 3 or 5. And this, so if this was 3, this would be 5. Oh, and that's going to go, oh, well. That's right, that's quite interesting. So if this is 3, that obviously makes this 5, which is right in the middle of our number pad. And that means that the next bishop's move is going to be to one of the corners of the number pad, which are the other odd digits, so 1, 3, 7 or 9. But if that's a 3, that can't be a 3, and it can't be 1 or 9, so that would be a 7. So if this digit is a 3, that is a 7. Now if it's a 5, that's a 3 then. And that's still a 7, because it gets trapped in the corner. You get, yeah, if it's 5, and therefore this is 3, we're trapped in the corner of the puzzle. Now from there, we couldn't go to 5, because the 5 would see this 5. So we have to, so that's always 7, even though we don't really... Even though we don't know what these two are. We don't know the order of the... I don't think we do, anyway. But that's always 7. A 7's in the corner. So the next square is 3 or 5 again. And that gives me a 3-5 pair in this column. And then that digit... Ooh, that digit is now also 3 or 5 again. This is bizarre. I mean, it's definitely 3 or 5. Because that's the bishop colour we're on. So these are... So I've now got all of the odd digits in this column. So these are all even digits. This isn't going to turn into a parity puzzle, is it? That would be just ridiculous. Yeah, that's it. Oh, that is gorgeous. I can understand. I understand what's going on here. Right. So thinking about parity as regards column 2 made me think of parity as regards these squares. Now, that's very interesting, isn't it? In the sense that whatever bishop, if we establish a bishop's colour within the number pad for this line, it's going to contain, I think it's going to contain either odd or even numbers. I can't get from the 8 to the 9, say, by bishop's moves. It's impossible. Yeah, the bishop either moves in a cycle around the 2, 4, 6 or 8 if it's on the even numbers, or it moves somehow within the 1, 7, 5, 9, 3 if it's on the odd numbers. But here's the problem. If this is now odd numbers, then these are all odd numbers, and these are all even numbers on the rook. And the rook can't move between 2, 4, 6 and 8 because the 5 isn't available to it. So if you think about 2, 4, 6, 8 on the number pad and try and make a chess move, you can make it move between the 2 and the 8, or you can make it move between the 4 and the 6, but you can't connect it up because you can't get to the 5. So this can't be right. So in fact, what we're going to do then is we're going to say these are not so these have to be the odd numbers. Yeah, they're not right. This is even more profound because these can't be odd, so these have to be odd, and therefore they're 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9 depending on what this is. But we can do better than that, can't we? Because the 5, if the 5 was on this sequence, the 5 couldn't go to any of the other digits because if you picture the number pad, the 5 is in the middle, and it's not a valid chess move with a rook to go to the corner from there. So actually this thing is there's no 5 on it. The 5 goes here. These are all even digits. This is alright, that's now a 3. So that's a 5, that's a 3. There's a 3 on the king line over here. There is a 5 down here. Let's not neglect our Sudoku. There may well be a lot more we can do here, though. Let's... these are all even digits, aren't they? 2, 4, 6 and 8. And is there something else we can say here? Just looking at my... hang on, let me just look at the number pad. So I want to say this is going to go in a cycle. So imagine this was a 2, for example. That would have to be a 4 or a 6. And then you're going to go sort of round the number pad. So if this went 2, 4, it would go 2, 4, 8, 6, weirdly. But if it went 2, 6, it would then go 8, 4. I feel like that's telling me something, but I can't see what it is. Do I don't know. Let's think about the rook line. 1, 3, 7, 9. So again, it's going to establish a cycle. Like if this is a 1, that will be a 9. But if that's a 3, that will be a 7. That's not a 7 I've just seen. So that means that's not a 1. So this is 1, 3 or 9. And okay. Sorry if you can immediately see what's going on here. Can I use the 3 on the king line? Can the 3 go there? The 3, yeah, the 3 could go there. Because it could be... oh no, it can't be... there's no 5 here. Ooh. Well, that's lovely. Right, this is a 4 or an 8. I didn't see this 5 knocking the 5 out of here. So the 3 can't go there because it wouldn't be within a king's move of a 3. So the 3 is going to have to go there. I've got another digit. That's not a 3. Now, what do we work out? If that's not a 3, that's not a 7 because of the way the rook's going to move around its cycle. And if that's 4 or 8, so if it was 4, it would have to go, to get to a 3 with its next move as a king, it would have to go through the 2 or the 5. But it would, so that would be a 2. And if this is an 8, it would have to go through a 5 or again, it would have to go to a 6. So now I've got a 2-6 pair here and a 4-8 pair. So that square is a 1 or a 9, I'm going to claim. That seemed very like a really, like it might do something, but no. Good grief. Hang on, let me just think about this. I'm thinking about the pawn line now, which doesn't have a 3 on it. But yeah, this is like a modular line. The pawns have to go up or down. So once, yeah, that's interesting. So once 3 is not on the pawn line is either sort of made up of 2, 5, 8 digits or 1, 4, 7 digits. Now, does that work? 1, 4, 7 is interesting. No, that doesn't work because these would only be selectable from... this is it. Look. If that's 1, 4, 7, these digits, there are 3 of them, are only allowed to be 3s and 9s because of the way the rook moves. And I can't put only the digits 3 and 9 into 3 Sudoku cells in the same box, because I will repeat a digit. So this is from 258. Now, does that mean the middle digit has to be a 5, or is that wrong? So, yeah, no, that's right, because if either of the edges was a 5, then the other edge would be a 5, wouldn't it? Because the thing would have to oscillate, because we're only allowed to do pawn moves, so the middle digit is a 5, and these two digits are a 2-8 pair. It's still not resolving quite what's going on. We've got a king move now. So okay, so there are 2 kings on the board. That makes sense, doesn't it? Now, okay, so the king here doesn't have 2, 5, or 8 on it, so it's moving within the same modular set. So it's either a 6, 9 pair, or it's moving within the 1, 4, 7 set. And either of those is probably possible. Okay. So what does this mean? I haven't got a clue. Shall we use the fact that there is a 7 on this knight's move, on this knight line down here? So if it's got 7 on it, its next move is going to be to a 2 or a 6. That's interesting. So the 7 can't be in the... Yeah, is that right? If the 7's in the middle of the line, I feel like there would be a 2 and a 6 flanking it, and this would be broken. So this digit, I think, is a 2 or a 6 on the bishop's line. Now the bishop's line, what does that mean? I'm not sure. It probably means something. So 4 and 8 are definitely down here now. Well, that's not on a line though, so that's not useful. And I'm not sure about my deduction. I think it's right that 7 can't be in the middle of the line. Because to jump to a 7, you'd have to come from a 2 or a 6. And yeah, that is right. I'm sure that's right. So 7 is on one side. This middle digit is a 2 or a 6 now. And therefore I get sort of a quadruple of even digits. It's quite parity based, isn't it? These are all odd numbers now. That feels like it should matter. Let's think. How can we prove anything else here? Which other lines do we think we might be able to avail ourselves of? Ah, here's a Sudoku point. Oh, this is outrageous. Right, where is 7 in this box? And it seems to have to be in one of those 2 squares. Therefore, where is 7 in box 2? And the answer is on the king line. Now the king line, we know that this line doesn't have 2, 5 or 8 on it, so this has to move within the 1, 4, 7 thing. So 7, oh, 7 has to go to 4. It can't go to 1 because it's a king. Right, that's a 4, 7 pair. Good grief. Right, so there's no 4 in there. So there is a... Oh, so where's 4 on this line? It's got to be there. And what's this, a bishop's line? So the 4 has to go to 2s and 8s, doesn't it? It can't go to 6. Yeah, that's fixed this digit. That cannot be a 6. You cannot go from 6 to 4 on a bishop's line. That's right. So that's 2. These squares are a 6, 8 pair. That's a 2. That's a... Ooh, That's a 4, so that's an 8. And is that going to... that's a 4 now by Sudoku. So this is going to unwind my funny line down here. Because 8 goes to 1, which goes to 6. So now that's going to be a 9. Just going to check. 4 does go to 9. It doesn't go to 1. 9 must go to 2, I want to say. This is now 4 by Sudoku. This is a 9. And this is a 2. And box 4's been filled in. 4 goes to 2 or 8. So it goes to 8. That's a 6. This is a brilliant puzzle, by the way. This is so original. Right, that's 4, 6, 8. So that's a 2 in the middle of this line. So it goes 7, 2, and then it must go 9, mustn't it? I don't see how that cannot be true. I don't know the order, but they must be a 7, 9 pair. So I know what these digits are now. These are 1, 3, and 5. Whoops, I want to do central pencil marking. 1, 3, and 5. So these squares up here are 6 and 9. And these squares over here are 1 and 8. Now I know the order of that one because of the pawn line over there. So now, where's 6 in the top row? It's got to be there. That square's got to be a 9 in the top row. This is no longer... Oh, that's a naked single. That's a 3, and that's on the rook line. So the rook line we know has a 7 once it's gone 2 moves. So this is a 1 now. No, that's not right. No, these are a 1, 9 pair. Bobbins. Okay, well, we nearly got somewhere. So we get a 1, 9 pair here. These digits are 1, 2, and 5 by Sudoku. So these digits are 3, 4, and 6 by Sudoku. That's not 3. That's an 8 by the power of Sudoku. So this is a 6 by the power of Sudoku. And we're probably going to get... oh, no, I thought we were going to get chocolate teapotted, but there's still some more Sudoku to be done. 8 is down there somewhere. Now 3... Three can go to either 1 or 9, then it goes to 7, then it goes to the other. So that rook line looks to me to be ambiguous at the moment. I mean, it's hopefully going to be resolved by stuff we're going to do down in these cells, but I don't think we can do it yet. So that's not 1, that's not 2. These squares are 5, 6, and 8, which I'm not sure if we can do. The window's rattling because of the weather. Yeah, and we can keep... I think we just keep going with Sudoku, don't we? 2, 5, 9. That's not 5. That's not 2. And something here. 1, 4, 7, a snooker maximum. Okay. Now what? I ask. I've only got 3 more lines to fill in. Can I must be able to do... Oh, I can do some more Sudoku. Yeah, of course. It's always going to be Sudoku, isn't it? 7 is now in one of those squares. 3 is in one of these squares. 4 is in one of these squares. 9 over here as well. Come on. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to get any more pencil marks than that. Right, what about that square then? That is a knight's move. 1, 3. Oh, a knight can't have a 5. 5 jumps the knight off the number pad, so that's 1 or 3. A 1 would jump to an 8 or a 6. Oh, nearly. Nearly. If that's a 1, it jumps to a 6. Then it can't jump to an 8 by Sudoku. If it's a 3, it jumps to an 8 or a 4. And it doesn't jump to an 8 or a 4 by Sudoku. So this is a 1. Oh, good. Right, okay, so that's 1. That's a 6 now. I'm just going to double check it. I think that's right. That means I get a 7, 9 pair down at the bottom of the grid. I get a 6 here, so I get a 5 here, a 1 here. This is now an 8. This is a 6. Now, has that done... Well, we can keep going along the night line because we've got 6. But that could be the same digit bobbins. That's annoying. No, actually it's not annoying because it is the same digit. Because unless I'm wrong, 6 jumps to 1 or 7. And it can't jump to 7 by Sudoku, so it must jump to 1. These are the same digit, and I get a 1 down here. What's that doing? I don't know, actually. 2, 3, 5. It's going to be the rook line now, isn't it? I need 2, 3, and 5 in this column. 2, 3, and 5. Now, if this is 7 or 9, it's up there. Can it jump to... Oh, it could jump to a 3. If this is 9, it can go to a 3. It can't go to a 5, actually. That might be the point. Oh, no. Well, no, it's beautiful. No, it's better. It's better than that. It can't go to 2 either, can it? So whether this is 7 or 9, the chess rook is sitting in the corner, top corner of the number pad, and 2 and 5 are not available squares, so that's just a 3. And if it's a 3, you can't get to 3 from 7, so that's a 9, that's a 7, that's a 9, that's a 7. 7 lives in one of 2 squares in box 9. And this is a 3, so this cell has to be either a 1, 2, 6, or 9. Oh, it's a 2 then. It's got to be a 2. A 1, 2, 6, or 9. And now that fixes those cells. Look, that fixes this cell. These are fixed as well. And the 2, the 2 can go to 1, 5, 8, or 3. 1, 5. It's got to be an 8, hasn't it? So that's all fixed. It's fixed everything. 4, 8. We've got 1. We've got this queen. Well, the queen is going to be the least powerful line. Weirdly, the most powerful chess piece, but the least powerful line because basically you can go anywhere from a queen, or nearly anywhere. That's an 8. Okay, so these squares are now. That's not an 8 by Sudoku. These are 2, 3, 7, aren't they? Ah, chocolate teapotted, look. 2, 3, 7. I knocked the 2 out of this one, the 7 out of this one, and the 3 out of that one. Right, aha, that's not 8. There's an 8 at the bottom of the grid. So 1, 4, and 6 into the bottom row, which is not resolved. And now we're going to have to work out... Okay, so what digits can we put on the queen line? We can put on 4, 5, 6, 9. And that is not a 5 or a 6. And that is the only... That is the only restriction I get, I think. I can't... That's a bit worrying, isn't it? I can't actually see another restriction there, so I must... Well, what do we know about this line then? It's got 4s, 5s, 6s and 9s on it. So what's the restriction? I can see if that's a 4. Oh, that's it. I've got it, I think. I feel very strange the way I'm looking down here to try and think about this. But if I put 4 in this square, I don't think I can put 9 in this row at all now. Because I can't move from a 4 to a 9 by way of a queen's move on the number pad. That's really lovely, to be honest, isn't it? That's just gorgeous. So so that's a 9. Now... I don't quite know what that means. Well, 9 we know doesn't go to 4, so the corollary now helps us. Because we can't go from 9 to 4, the 4 must sit elsewhere in the row, so that's a 6. That gives me a 1-4 pair here. Let's get rid of the corner mark. We know that these are now not. This is a 5-6 pair. Now, that's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 7. That's a 2. Come on. So that's a 4. Column 8 has just been finished by this. In fact, look, we're still going with a bit of Sudoku, but it might be about to peter out. That's a 6. That's a 6. That's a 5. That's a 3. That's a 4. That's a 1. It's going to finish. That's absolutely breathtaking. Good grief, that is so clever. It's quite an old puzzle, yeah. It's been out for 3 months. That is just superb. How original is that? The answer is very original. I wonder if it's possible. I wonder if this could become a thing. That's what I'm wondering, of whether this rule set needs further explanation or exploration. Because that felt incredibly beautiful to do that. It was really, really clever. Although it may be GDC has sort of almost taken it to the max, because I mean this first bit was a beautiful idea, wasn't it? Spotting that there is a limit to the extent you can jump the knight around, and just by placing one digit that can see so much of the line, it did amazing work. And then fixing the bishop's move off the back of it. It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one. I think this is going to be popular, with good reason. GDC, take a bow. And yeah, we'll be back later on with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.